Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We've got a big best of 3 from Gamers8. It's BYUN in the bottom left side of the map. The beastly Terran, one of the scariest players, especially in this matchup, TVP. And he's sending out an early SCV, the sneaky boy. In the top right, though, we've got Classic, the beast of a Protoss. The man that has been looking rock solid lately. Absolutely fantastic. He's been kicking butt. Classic scouting. Ooh, SCV sees the probe. Was he expecting that probe? That looked like he was checking for it, but he's definitely hiding this SCV. It's going to be an engineering bay block, I believe. This is a delayed engineering bay block, so he's doing everything he can to try and hide it. And he's just going to get that started as this probe goes Cybercore and then go down to build the Nexus. Classic is going to have to take a third base. Technically, you can go second gas and Stargate, but usually Protoss players find that does not work very well. I know MaxSpecs always goes to the third base. Let's see what Classic does here at the start of this series. He's already run away to try and block the third as well. Oh my. Luckily for Classic, he goes left. I guess he maybe anticipated this. He's putting a second pylon on the high ground, and he will be getting the Nexus up on the left very quickly. BYUN at least scouts it early enough. He instantly cancels the engineering bay once he sees that. He has the factory building at home. Second depot starts up, and an orbital. Now, Classic is just going to chill for now. The question I would have is, do we play Stalkers or do we try to play Stargate from here? And both hard decisions to make. I actually do think the Stalker option is the better one because of its flexibility. I feel like when your base is that far apart, even though Phoenix are good at covering space, if you do get caught out of position even once, things can go very awry very quickly with Phoenix. It's a very fragile situation to find yourself in. So definitely one you'll have to keep out for. Command Center is on the way. Are we going to see Hellions to start? This definitely looks like a Hellion opening to me, guys. If you don't build Hellions, you've only got one Marine for mobile units. But building Hellions 2 at a time is obviously going to eliminate any Adepts on the map and see exactly what you can achieve from there. Classic does go Stargate, and he's got a backup wall off on the high ground. I like that. Alright, so we've got Command Center still just on one gas in the main, which makes sense. Obviously, with that delayed Command Center, you got to be chill on it. Third and fourth Hellion immediately. Tech Lab starts up on the barracks. Ooh, what is this? A pylon in the middle. So Classic's actually getting a spotting pylon, prioritizing that over a shield battery. I always felt like the shield battery was overrated in these scenarios. And I think especially knowing there's no Reaper out, he's like, yeah, I mean, the Hellions can always run past. You've got to be able to kill the Hellions. Shield battery, it can sometimes help you in some scenarios, but you've got two very disparate bases, very far apart, and you got to make sure you can try and defend them as best you can. 4 Hellions going to come in. Classic, oh my, oh me, oh my. These guys can one-shot probes. It only takes 3 Hellions to one-shot probes. They are a little spread out, I could argue. There we go. First volley goes down. Already these probes are starting to fall. 2 of them do go down. Make it 4, make it 5. Very nice play here by BYUN to start things off. And if he just gets out of there, he'd be good. But, oh, Oracle's going to ruin his day. Oh, he does a bit of a jukey juke. Can he get one more? Oh, he does get one more. Okay, so 6 probes there for 4 Hellions and mining time. Obviously, cost for cost, you're like, well, that's a bad trade. But it's so early in the game, keeping Classic's economy small, while so far, BYUN's is building completely unmolested. Now, he's got a Cyclone, which will wreck the Oracle. But 3 Adepts can take out a Cyclone pretty quickly. So you got to be a little cautious. He's looking for that intercept. And he gets it! Classic, watch out, mate! Oh, he even scans? BYUN. Oh, he gets it, you dirty boy! If he loses the Cyclone, though, that's actually not too bad for Classic, I think. As long as you get the Cyclone. Another Cyclone's going to be out, though. Classic needs to get out of here. Takes out a Marine. Stalker accidentally attacks the Command Center, but only for 1 attack, so not too bad. Takes out an SCV or 2. Definitely could be worse. There's a Phoenix there. It's going to have to pick up that Cyclone. Well done. Wow, Classic decisive, believing in the power of the gateway units. But at the end of the day, what is that? 3 SCVs, a couple of Marines, and Cyclone for 3 Adepts and an Oracle. Not too bad. Classic's on 37 probes. He's trying to build a Robo right now. Robo, 4 gas for Classic, and Immortal on the way. Stim starts up for BYUN. He's on 3 barracks. Still no starport for him. So BYUN wants to play what we call a meaty style. Meat and potatoes for him. He's not going to have any bloody herbs, any garnishes. No weird veggies on the side, you know? He's just going for the raw carbs, protein, fat. None of that micronutrient. Oh, Cyclone gets sniped there. Great move by Classic. Well worth, I think, losing a Stalker for that. Because now you can be a bit more annoying with these Stalkers. He's got more coming as well. No bunker. No bunker, no attack. Oh my god. Did BYUN just throw this game by losing that Cyclone? Because now he can't really get this bunker up. This is so annoying. Oh my god, he's going to take so much damage. BYUN not having a bunker and losing both of his Cyclones is actually horrendous. Oh, one of the Stalkers does get picked off. Classic does lose another Stalker. Interesting to see. I don't know. It kind of feels like Stalkers can usually just out-micro them forever. But I think Classic may be just a bit too outnumbered. And he's rallying an Immortal forward and a second Immortal into Robo Bay. Classic's trying to take a third as well. I mean, supply-wise, it looks great for him. BYUN is super supply blocked right now on 54. He's just trying to build more depots. And it actually feels like Classic has come out of this weird, messy opening way better off for it. Units lost tab a little in his favor. And definitely has turned this his direction. I always feel like this is the difference between top-tier Protoss players and normies like myself. When I fight Marines with my Adepts and Stalkers, I kill like one Marine for each Adept or Stalker. And then you look at this and you're like, oh, you killed like 1 billion Marines, Hellions, SCVs, and a couple Cyclones for just 6 Gateway units. Okay. Turns out you are much better at this game than I am. Who knew? Big argument, I think, for Classic to be the next big thing. Hero still has moments where he looks like an absolute god tier beast, and I don't think he'll ever stop being that. He's just a little bit too consistently... this is actually kind of funny. Hero might be, for the first time in the last few years, the most consistent he's ever been at anything. Which sounds crazy when he's been the best Protoss in the world for a long time, right? But what is he most consistent at, Pig? I hear you say, oh, imagined internet commenter. Throwing PVZs, unfortunately. It's not the thing you want to be consistent at. But Hero, I think that's what's been holding back a lot of Hero's performances is getting way ahead in PVZs and then just really derping and giving away a lot of leads, which occasionally is going to happen if you have a high variant style. But he's been doing that too much, whereas Classic has such a solid defensive macro style. If he can get to the point where he can regularly be holding off guys like BYUN, Maru, in TVP, I think, you know, he's already shown in this tournament that he has what it takes to bring the fight to the top Zergs in the world. And even in the previous few tournaments, he was looking really close in his matches versus guys like Reyna and Serral, even if not quite able to best them. So I really do feel Classic's got a lot of potential, a lot of hype right now. Oh, BYUN's going to stim forward. Immortal does get caught out, goes down. Oh, my lord. Uh-oh, Classic, are we too far out here? Classic losing an Immortal at all of his force fields like that was a bit of a bummer. He's in such a good position right now. That third command zone, it just started. Or is it 6 gas fully saturated? Now, Classic has forgotten to transfer to that 6 gas, so a little sloppy in that regard, but he's got charge and +1 starting. Oh, he's lost track of this. Those 5 Phoenix should be there in time, especially if he gets a warp in a Zealots and a Colossus there. This is really bad for BYUN, I believe. There are 3 Marauders. You gotta pick up the Marauders, otherwise the Colossus will go down. Oh my god, you gotta pick him up, gotta pick him up, gotta pick him up. At the same time, big fight on the left. Looks like the Widowmines, though, clearing out some units. The Colossus goes down. Zealots are warping in. Oh no, Classic may have let BYUN find an opening here, but those 2 Zealots doing very good work. A few of these Phoenix getting shot down, though, but the Phoenix finally do clear it up. Back on the other front as well. Let's take a look. Units lost tab still in favor of Classic slightly. And being up a full base of workers should be good. If he could get Templar Archives, I think he'd be amazing. He's going to go second Robo, and a 4th base should be next on the menu. Wait, he's only on 4 gates? What? Did he forget? He went 6 gas on 4 gates? Classic, are you drunk, mate? Just when I was singing your praises, he's only just got his 5th and 6th gateway up after his bloody 6 gas. Absolute insanity, guys. There's rules to StarCraft. You're meant to finish your 2-base production before taking a 4th base, believe it or not. That sounds kind of intuitive when you say it that way, doesn't it? But Classic got crazy greedy. I think he gets away with it, though. He's still way ahead in this game. And he's a little behind on the upgrades with +1 armor coming in. Ghosts are coming in for BYUN as well. So he's going to have that, like, elite ball of slightly better upgraded bio ghost units. Problem is, he's just outnumbered. With 3 Colossus on the field, an Immortal out, double Robo building a Prism, second Forge coming in. The only problem for Classic is that he's only on 6 gates. Now, does Classic from here play that famous extra Robo style? Because he brought that out in this tournament. Is one of the coolest things ever. Where a lot of players, like MaxBax, will stay single Robo for a very long time and be all about warping in units and being very mobile on the map with your Zealots and Stalkers and just 1 Colossus or Disruptor building at a time. But Classic does what I always assumed was a noob thing, because I like doing it a lot, which is he goes faster into double Robo, faster into triple Robo, faster into... Apparently, we've heard whispers he likes to do 4 or 5 Robos sometimes, like a mad dog. before maxing out, which is even more crazy. I mean, when you're like maxed out on 10,000 resources, sure, but to do that before then would be wild. Double upgrades are in the way. Classic's looking for a 5th base on this right side. Extra gases are not going up on this base. I think 6 gas is all you really need for a while. Interesting that Classic isn't trying any Zealot backstabs or anything. I will argue Terrans have gotten so good at stopping Zealot backstabs, whether it be the Prism in the main or just the Zealot pair running into the third, that it's not as worth it as it used to be. Oh, nice. Widow Mine allows him to clear this up. Classic does have a Warp Prism, so I do feel he could probably push right here. Got a Warp Prism in the bottom right. A lot more Zealots warping in. He's got 8 gateways now, and a 3rd Robo does come in here at about 180 supply. Not too bad. 5th base is exposed, though. Oh, he's caught out of position. Bit of a doo-doo here for Classic. He lost track of the army, and that's going to cost him. Widow Mine does take out the Zealot. Army is right there. Does he not realize this? He doesn't know the army's there. He still hasn't realized. Classic! Get back there, mate! Oh, BYUN dives right by. BYUN cannot fight him front on right now, so he's going to take out a Nexus and run away. This is really well played by BYUN. BYUN is in a very bad position, though. If he throws the army away, he's just dead. In the numbers, even killing that Nexus is not really enough for him. Zealots run in, and they're just going to get cleaned up. The Prism tries to fly behind, but it looks like those Vikings are on top of it. And here we go. Look, doing a nice fighting retreat is BYUN. He's cleaned up all the Zealots. He's EMP'd a lot of the other units as well. He's got to be careful, though, because there are so many disruptors there. The Prism did get cleaned up back in the back of the Terran base. BYUN even scans to make sure, because he wasn't looking, that it didn't escape. And here we go. Now, there is an army on the left. You got to be careful here as Classic. He's chasing into this with a bit of a line of units. Classic chasing a bit of a sloppy chase. BYUN focuses down a lot of the disruptors. He does get one big disruptor hit, but the way Classic chased into this corner of the map was a bit silly. Classic was so far ahead, and now he gets sandwiched by the other army. That was one of the worst chases I've ever seen. He had a pylon here and a whole bunch of Zealots needed to whoop in. Classic played such an exceptional PvT up to this point. And then I think he just basically, I think Hero whispered in his ear. A little miniature mirage of Hero popped on his shoulder and said, throw the game, Classic. And he was like, oh, I gotta chase that army down. They killed the Nexus or 2. And he just got, it was like an angry chase. It's that thing where you get bullheaded. I think bullheaded is the perfect way to describe it, because you're not thinking cool, calm, collected. You're literally like, oh, he killed 2 bases. I have to just chase him. But Classic still had so much money. He could have popped those Nexi back up and still been in a good position. He knew there was no 4th base for BYUN, that it had just started building. And being knocked back to 3 base temporarily was not a big issue. But look at this. BYUN gets a good trade in the main, and he's cleaning up Stalkers. Whenever you've got just Stalkers fighting Bio, that's a huge problem. There's no sustained damage. It's just a handful of Stalkers and Disruptors. And Blink actually was never made this game as well. I did not realize that Blink is this late. 13 minutes and not finished. That's definitely a big mistake there for Classic. And Classic with just 2-1 Stalkers against 2-1 Bio. The Disruptor shots need to land. BYUN says, guess what? Disruptors can't throw their balls uphill. Balls roll downhill. That's how physics works. Science, bitches. He drops his mic on the ground. Neil deGrasse Tyson is very proud. BYUN, you absolutely showed that silly Protoss player. And man, this trade is actually disgusting. It's so brutal, man. These like non-blink Stalkers, they finally get blink. They're like, we can stop you, yes. And even then, he's killing a whole bunch of Disruptors. And he's got, of course, this was the same army from 5 minutes ago. A new army now parades down the left side. Oh. Okay, Marine Marauder trying to spread. He's gonna go up in that top left base as well. Okie dokie, going in after the probes in the top left, trying to deal with these Disruptors here. And man, it's so well done. There's a base in the top left. That is the lifeline of Classic in this game. But Classic's like trying to mass Disruptor. He's trying to, I was going to say he needs like Immortals, he needs Colossus, he needs some of those more just straightforward units. BYUN, even after this momentum, he's still only got 68 probes and 4 base, right? He never got like the money to go 5th command center, 6th command center. He was far behind in this game. But unfortunate to let it slip away like this for Classic. I mean, he played very well early game. You got to play very well for the whole game. That's how StarCraft works, believe it or not. Oh, refugee hunters. The probes just want to find a new home. The Marine Marauder are absolutely savage. Zealots try to get in the mineral line. BYUN is going to try and trade out as best he can here. Observer goes down. That's rough. Disruptors do go flying. Cry havoc and let loose the balls of war. Youch. Youchy. Bio coming in from behind. Those Stalkers and Disruptors don't have much left to guard him. Great Disruptor shot. Got 3 Marauders and a Ghost, but look at that. Hunting them down with the rally on the right. Classic. An unfortunate game 1 versus BYUN. Alright guys, going into game 2. We got Classic down here in the bottom right. And it is going to be PvT. By the way, I did forget to turn on my 4K recordings for this one, so I hope you don't mind the return to the 1080p quality just for this this one cast. Most of the casts on this channel should still be 4K in the future. Not all of them, but most of them. Every now and then there'll be like a good series from a weekly cup I'm casting live where it surprises us with its quality or something like that and don't have the recordings going. But anyway, let's talk about the games. Classic chucked away a bit of an advantage that game. He lost map vision, he lost track of BYUN's army, and then he got angry when he realized that BYUN had outpositioned him. He ran past, did BYUN, got a Nexus, got another Nexus, and then Classic not only lost Nexi, but he got so angry over losing those 2 bases, he decided to lose the game. I say decided to, obviously I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but I'm also not. There's this thing that happens in StarCraft where something goes bad, and then you get angry, and you make it so much worse. And that's exactly what happened to Classic in that last game. He cannot be making those sort of mistakes against BYUN. I still think he was in a perfectly playable position, but I think he had the inability to kind of calmly deal with the sudden change in circumstances. That ability to mentally adjust and recalibrate from I'm winning this game to, okay, I messed up, let's accept that and change what is the correct play now? Because it changed very quickly from, yeah, let's just go make a fight and win the game, to, oh crap, he's outpositioned me, oh, let's chase his army, oh, let's chase his army, oh, let's chase his army into a weird corner, all my zealots have already died fighting on their own chasing his army, oh, and I'm setting up to allow his reinforcement to flank me as well, which is a big doo-doo. Speaking of big doo-doos, BYUN gets caught. Great catch by Classic there. Goes hunting with the Adept, it pays off. He's got a second Adept and Twilight on the way. Stalker building, and his Adept will go forward across the map. It is a couple of Marines and a Hellion building here from BYUN. And the Adept is, of course, going to get up there, see the orbital making, and no big surprises for now. I imagine this will be a 2-gate. I don't really think a Classic is a 4-gate blink guy. However, this reactor is prime for sniping later on. So being able to get a reactor and then force a barracks to lift is actually a big dent in a Terran build order. Even with just a 2-gate blink pressure, that reactor should be easy pickings. Alright, Adept's gonna... And that Adept really should be getting out of there. Looks like BYUN's going to maybe do a 4 Marine, 2 Hellion drop. Oh, actually, he's putting a 3rd Hellion. He's going old school, baby. He's going to do the 3 Hellion drop, I believe. What I prefer usually is doing the 6 or 8 Marine drop, and then the Hellions try to run by into the natural. Especially in this game, because there's no wall-off buildings at all. Marines coming down. Oh, 2 Adepts coming in for the fight, which looks good for Classic, but there's Hellions behind this. Those Hellions can get the punish on the Adepts. That'll be big. He's got to kill both of those Adepts. He's going to lose one of the Hellions, though, which does take away his lethal power with the Hellions to one-shot stuff. But, of course, the Hellions can easily outpace this Stalker. He's going to pick up and drop on top. Stalker wants to get a Hellion. Oh, Classic almost gets it, but not quite. Okay. He's going to go for a bit of a drippy-droppy. Still going to use the Hellions separately from the Marine. So it's that format I talked about. But of course, with only 2 Hellions to run by and a few Marines to drop, it's not that scary. It is a 3-gate blink, so a nice middle-of-the-road build, which I think kind of suits Classic. He's trying to pile on wall off to stop the Hellions. I don't think that's necessary, but he's supply blocked, so he does actually need those pylons. It's just funny because he has no production space anywhere in his main in terms of power fields, and he's building all his pylons here. Oh, he's going to go Storm on 2 base. Oh, okay. I was expecting a Robo Bay and an Immortal, but guess not. Second barracks is on the way. 2 tanks and a Raven building. I like the choice to be kind of chilled out here for BYUN. That being said, Blink's ready. So if you're going to go in and commit, you should have already done it. And that time is now kind of passed. Third Nexus on the way for Classic at 5 minutes. Charge is on the way. He'll be going for probably 1 or 2 High Templar and then Psystorm. The reason you want to make the High Templar first is it takes forever to actually get energy. So we'll see which way he does it. I think with limited gas, it should always be 2 High Templar, start Psystorm, then you can make more High Templar. He goes Psystorm first. Classic disagrees with me. This will technically get your first storms ready sooner. So if you're worried about a very immediate push in the near term, this way of doing it is better. Raven comes in, sees a 3rd base, not quite finished, is going to wait on that right side. Feedback can, of course, get rid of all the energy on that Raven and do very, very well. We've got the Hellion drop in the bottom as well. 3 more gates coming in. That's going to be 6-gate charge storm, a very good ambush style. I like this observer placement. Dude, this observer sees so much. I really feel like ever since they gave the observer pervert mode, it's been so much more annoying of a unit. But I think it's more than countered by the Raven being so cheap and easy to build now. The Raven being so good. That being said, whenever I play TVP, I never find the observers. I don't know if any of the Terran players out there have this experience. I watch BYUN and the like always catch all the observers with the Ravens and like push them into really bad positions or where they're not as useful. I feel like I have an observer sitting like here the whole game and my Raven's like scouting back and forth out here and I can just never find it. And I'm like, how every game do I never find the goddamn thing? There's always this little cheeky, just invisible guy just kind of watching from the shadows going, ooh, I see you there leaving your base. Because let's be real, any unit designed to perv from the shadows is a bit of a creeper, guys. It's not exactly going to talk to you like a normal human being, is it? Anyway, there is only one Psystorm available. Second one's about to be ready. There's not that much army for Classic. This is a scary spot. Get out of there, Classic. Get out of there. Oh, he gets a tank. That's actually pretty damn good, man. He gets a tank. He doesn't even waste Blink. He just says, nah, I got Zealots up front. Yeah, if you can get rid of the tanks, it's much harder for BYUN to push in. Raven comes in, great harass here, very nicely done. Zealots are going to try and deal with that turret, but Battery actually barely got in range to heal that. Nicely done. Those units go back to heal as well. Tanks are sieging again, but great pullbacks by Classic, so he's buying himself a lot of time. BYUN has a third base up. Is he up to 5 barracks yet? Okay, yeah, 4th and 5th barracks are on the way. He's also got +1 weapons, hasn't started armor just yet. He does scan. Looks like he killed the observer with that. He's now picking up and trying to doom drop the main. The Raven looks like it came in for another auto turret. Still only has 1 kill. So that Raven's been kind of limited in its utility. Now, if BYUN flies in with this, that's a very bad decision. There is no reason when there's nothing else happening on the map to go in unless you're a crazy person. BYUN is a crazy person. He's both getting Zealot dropped and he's going to drop the main. There's 2 storms ready. Watch out! Watch out! BYUN is... Oh! Ow, wow, 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 wow. Feedbacks could be big there as well. Pops one of the medevacs. Stalkers are going to take out another medevac with 3 Marines in it. Oh, ouchies. Okay, guys, where's the Warp Prism? Did it survive? Okay, the Warp Prism survived. A few Zealots went down for a bit of mining time and 3 SCVs. You got to be very careful here as BYUN because, like, look at the army supply now. That losing those Marines and medevacs was very painful. I like the tank positioning, though. That makes me very, very happy. And look at the Vikings as well. If you can get rid of the Warp Prism... But no, you can't chase up here with your bio. BYUN, get that bio back, mate. He loses a medevac there. He's only got 2 medevacs. Oh, God, the Widow Mine's going to go down before it can burrow as well. But actually, okay, I like the pullback. He's got to be careful. He's got to lift the command center and run it away. Storm is so scary right now. The Storm only gets a few SCVs, and the command center is actually still alive. It's all about surviving until your army count grows. Storm is very scary right now, but there's only 2 Psystorms left. A full energy High Templar looking very scary. With a few Vikings out, a few tanks in reserve, and the ability to spread your units and stuff, you should be okay. Raven is somehow still alive. Looks like it's up to 4 kills at this point, so it must have got a few kills eventually. 6 gas, and going to a 4th base, as well as the Robo Bay transition. So 2nd Robo Bay on the way. Classic still got BYUN pinned. BYUN's army is still so small. And remember, Ghosts don't have stim. Even though they're a little faster than Bio without stim, oh, they are slower than stim Bio. If I were him, I'd be pumping Widow Mines. The fact that he's not pumping Widow Mines to me is crazy. That seems like that, like Ghosts and Widow Mines are what stops this sort of army, right? They make it really hard for the Zealots to charge in without just getting killed by EMP and Widow Mine shots. But he was a little slow in his production. Nonetheless, BYUN survives. And if BYUN survives, BYUN can win. We all know this about BYUN. He's made disgusting comebacks in the past. Classic also kind of dropped the ball in that last game. So he's got to be careful. Now, he's supply blocked right now, only building 1 pylon. His Nexus will be finishing momentarily, which is going to give him a bunch of supply. But definitely he's got to get a move on with that Colossus transition. 2nd Forge on the way. Bit behind in upgrades for now, but will eventually be catching up as that armory is, of course, very slow for BYUN. And BYUN actually starts a 4th command center. He's thinking of playing the longer game. Big Zealot run by. That is 12 Zealots getting ready to run into the 3rd base. They're probably going to wait until nothing else is happening. You don't really want to send that in isolation. And I'd like to see Classic maybe set up 1 or 2 High Templar on this map as well. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. The Ridge Templar, random High Templar here, random High Templar here, somewhere in the smoke. Just looking to flank these armies from kind of surprising positions, because 4 High Templar all together in the army, it's just a big EMP magnet. But if you have just 2 or 3 in the army and then a few peppered around the map to come in with a flank, it's very effective. All right, 5th Nexus is on the way there. +2 attack, +1 armor. Colossus range is almost up. 3rd Colossus coming. And is that a 3rd Robo? Yeah, it is. Classic, you make me so happy with your extra Robos, dude. I just think it's such a good way of playing because Zealots and Stalkers suck. And it's the Immortals, the Colossi, the Disruptors that usually are the real winners in the fights. And especially if you lose a fight, the ability to reproduce those units is very important. You know, we should call this the in vitro, the IVF Protoss versus Terran style, because you're basically doing everything you can to get those babies out. Normally, it's so hard to have a lot of robotics-based babies. And it's very difficult. A lot of Protoss couples have trouble conceiving, but you get that triple robo, that 4 robos. He's putting a 4th one now. If you can get to the 5 robos, that's when you really, you know, make sure you're just implanting those robo eggs. That's a weird analogy, I know, guys. It's kind of my specialty here, but I actually legitimately do love this style. I think it's very, very fantastic. And getting that up, 4 robos, only then adding 6 gateways to go to 14 gates, I think is just a very well-rounded way of playing PvT. And he's up to 7 gases once he transfers to that. Question is, where's the Dark Shrine? For the longest time, Blink DTs were like the game winner in this matchup, and it feels like Classic doesn't have faith in that. It's like, I think this is really showing the big changes in PvT recently. Terrans are so good at stopping Zealot run-bys, so good at stopping DT backstabs, and Classic's like, no worries, I'll just use the other things. But those were the most important things for the longest time for Protoss to beat Terran, and it feels like most Protoss players have not adapted, whereas Classic has. What? Oh my god, he just stormed the whole army! I think he got a feedback or 2 on the Ghost as well. Sorry guys, I didn't even notice a single High Templar ran forward in front of the army. BYUN didn't notice it there, he was distracted, but I don't know why he's not dealing with these 2 Zealots. He was waiting for the Planetary the whole time, I guess, but he loses much more than he needed to. Whew. I mean, he does remax pretty quickly, does repair the Sensor Tower to save it, but definitely a scary moment for him. Ooh, good dodge on the EMP. Classic's got Speed Prism. That's why he's able to get in there so quickly, man. Ooh, okay, great storm on the biomass. Those 2 tanks there getting some good shots off. Oh, he gets a good storm up front, but Interference Matrix does shut down the Prism from doing any more of that. Oh god, anti-armor missile is so scary. That one of the Colossi is going to go down. A second one goes down in a moment. It's still alive. Prism goes down, but the Disruptor shot does hold back BYUN's army. BYUN's army is heavily stimmed right now. That being said, anti-armor missile and no shields makes Protoss very, very sad. This is an amazing chase for BYUN. This man is a dirty boy. He just absolutely cleansed the Protoss army with the righteous fury of EMP and anti-armor missile. You know, I feel like there's one guy from like 2018 who's sitting there in the chat, in the comment section, and he's going, I've been saying that EMP and anti-armor missile are the most broken abilities for years. It took these stupid Pro Terrans this long to figure this out, and I'm like, I hear you, dude. We always knew these combos were good. It's just hard to pull them off in game, and the players have got to the point where they're pretty good at pulling off these combos now, especially in these games where it's a bit slower paced and a bit more standoffish like this one's been. Oh god, well, hold the phone. This ain't standoffish anymore. We got a Doom drop in the main. If EMP is the Nexus, recall will not be available. Mass Zealot run by runs in and starts getting slaughtered. EMP has already been activated before the EMP could land. Good reaction by Classic. Recall, sorry, got activated before the EMP could land. Very nicely done there by Classic, but mostly Stalkers. It's not the best army for fighting against this bio. 2-1 upgrades versus 2-1 equal upgrades. Does blink back into the shield battery overcharge. Most of the medevacs get out, but only after losing a lot of bio. The Zealots on the top did manage to kill 15 SCVs. The units lost tab tells us a story of Protoss not being in a very good spot. Oh, BYUN! BYUN! He saved all 5 medevacs and then just left them sitting on the edge, and yet somehow these units win the lottery. The only medevac of all 5 that had units in it somehow survives when every other one dies, and purely due to luck. BYUN literally just was so lucky that Classic happened to target the wrong ones there. Disruptors go out, take out a few Marauders and Marines. There's not that many units here for BYUN. They're all up on the top right. He's got his landed Vikings there. This game's getting really weird and messy right now. He is re-dropping behind the mineral line, takes out a few probes there. The landed Vikings are going to be sacrificed. I'm not sure how I feel about this move. Vikings are a very valuable unit, and that is a move which Clem has been a big fan of not doing ever. Recently, you'll see Clem, because he says, dude, if you throw your Vikings away, they'll just rebuild their Colossus. So what he does is he sends the Vikings home, lands them at his third, repairs them back up, and he uses them to defend Zealot run-bys until they rebuild the Colossi, because they haven't seen Vikings in a while, and then they lift off and join the army, and they're really successful. Does waste a lot of supply to do that, so obviously it's not always the right call, but it definitely can be useful. 3-2 upgrades are on the way right now for BYUN. 75 probes here, 6 more probes are on the way, plus 3 armor and plasma shields is on the way, and should be looking good. 5 ghosts coming, as well as a whole bunch of marines and marauders. Stalker, Zealot, Disruptor, Archon doing what they can do. Oh my lord. Oh my lordy lord. Oh! Ow, ow. Oh my god, big balls! Big balls land. Disruptor does barely miss the Archon, Zealot, Stalker, Disruptor. We'll see what happens there. Okay, 4 Disruptors are on the way right now. Feels like BYUN has a 5th base up, so he can actually kind of maintain this trading. You can see he's transferred almost everything from his main. His natural, his 3rd can transfer a few extra workers here. Income-wise, I think he's still behind, of course, but he can kind of maintain some of these trades. He's still got the 3 Marauder single Ghost Drop that's pinning a lot of Protoss supply at home. Warp Prism manages to sneak by the Widow Mine in the turret. He's going to warp a few units into that main base. Remember, the Dark Shrine is up, but there's still no Blink DT. Oh, those 2 siege tanks from the early game are still alive. Sergeant Chadhammer and her nephew, who came in for work experience, have been holding down the fort this game. I can't believe those tanks are still alive from the start. Zealots in the main clear up a few turrets. They will get cleaned up. How many Disruptors are we up to? 7. I mean, the rest of the army kind of sucks, though. It's just a bunch of Stalker, Zealot, Archon. He's just going to click on the command center? Wow. Classic says, hey, if I can zone out the army, I can maybe click a command center. Yeah, I was saying wow, because I was like, I can't believe that'll work. And thankfully, for Classic's sake, Classic does pull back before overcommitting. 20 SCVs have gone down in the last little while, though. It's a lot of workers to be losing. I don't think they were all on this base. Where did they all go down, man? It looks like this base lost a bunch of workers, potentially. Anyways, you guys let me know if you saw a whole bunch more Disruptors die. Oh, he's gonna dive in again. Stalkers blink, takes out a lib, takes out another lib. Disruptors do go flying. Oh, takes out a lot of Marauders and a bunch of the SCVs. Even just getting in range of the SCV line is big. BYUN's gonna counterattack in the north, gets rid of the building next side. 2 Zealots in the mineral line, gonna do big damage there for Classic. Classic does lose the building nexus in the top. If he loses another base or 2, he could be in trouble. That's a recall of some Disruptors. These 3 medevac of Bio Ghost needs to get out of there. You do not want to get cornered by these units. Zealots! Unanswered in the mineral line. Bit of a mistake here for BYUN. Getting a bit excited. Looks like he lost a few SCVs behind that mineral line as well. That Zealot run by just slayed so much. And BYUN's army gets caught in the middle of the map as well. He should have gone on the top path, but he pulled them through the middle. Big mistake for BYUN. I'm sorry I didn't catch that. He lost that whole army. I assumed he was going to go up the top and get home safe, but he messes it up, and now he's getting pushed in by Classic. Classic is going to start pushing in with the Disruptors, but a lot of them do get focused down. Classic does have a bit of a habit of moving his Disruptors a little bit further forward than I'd like in some of these scenarios, but his follow-up shots are pretty fantastic. You can see here his Disruptors and his army are on separate control groups. He's also got the Warp Prism on a 3rd control group that's waiting down here in the bottom left to try and strike in the backline, but plenty of missile turrets ready for BYUN. 3-3-1 upgrades for Protoss, 3-2 upgrades with +1 air weapons for the Terran. BYUN now, though, I think he took a bit too much damage on those SCVs. He's lost 79 workers versus just 19 probe losses in this game, and he gave up a lot there. DT is going to run into that 3rd, finally getting the Blink DT just as a late game harassment tool. BYUN does take out a Nexus in the bottom, but remember what happened last time? Oh! The Disruptor catches him on the retreat, and he gets blasted there. Classic. Oh my god, we're gonna have to start calling him the money shot Protoss if he keeps this one up. Whoo! Not what BYUN likes to see. BYUN's looking pretty dead now, even though he has similar army supply. We have to look at the income, and half saturated, full base. I guess, yeah, and then this base is gonna be half. It's not really that much minerals. Still got a few minerals here, but they're gonna run out in the next 2 minutes. So it does feel like Classic's resources aren't as much higher than they should be, even though he has 86 probes. If he can get another Nexus mining, obviously he's going to outscale BYUN pretty hard, and he is right now maxed against a non-max player, but it's mostly worker supply difference. He's only slightly ahead in army. So there is a dream here, right? BYUN needs to make a heroic effort. He needs to find a way to defeat this army, but it is still mostly Zealot Stalker. Yeah, it's a lot of balls, though. Oh my god, Classic has 11 Disruptors. The Zealots take big Widow Mine shots. Great micro so far for BYUN. The problem is he's got to flank the army, and his flank is way too late, which means he has to run away with his base. He's got to get that flank in position. Command center goes down. He's actually not even going to... Yeah, he's going to try and flank. Oh, watch out! No, BYUN, not again! The money shot Protoss does it again, and BYUN right now not feeling too good. Dude, he was walking down the street, and then, you know, he saw the wind toss just look out. He said, do you need a ride, honey? BYUN is regretting that decision. Oh, he does manage to get rid of that disruptor, but a big one lands up there. And oh me, oh my, very nicely played here by Classic. Just getting so many disruptors, they cannot be denied. He has 5 robos right now. And he says, behold the power of my almighty balls. They shall rain down the purification upon your dirty Terran souls. You with your foul orifices, those that communicate through their orifices? Dirty, dirty, dirty Terran. You are so foolish, and I will take you out and cleanse you with the righteous fury and fire of Protoss. I do feel like sometimes Protoss are a bit holier than thou. You know, I feel like there's a little bit of a weird kind of creepy religious cult mentality to some of them, especially if you go back to the StarCraft 1 campaign. But in this case, it's the cool sort of cult where Classic is just exorcising the Terran from the map. Very nicely played. BYUN's running around desperately in the corner. He's trying to do things, but that's about the best you can describe. It's like, where's the win condition? It does not exist because there is just too much Protoss. And that time the full medevac does go down. Another one gets shot down in the retreat. And BYUN is going to tap out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Damn it, that's what we call the tap out game, guys. He's so far beyond dead at this point. It's gonna take like one small thing going in Classic's favor, and he's kind of gotta get out. Actually, it's a tournament game, right? It is a tournament game at a big LAN. Sometimes BYUN does hang in there to like the last unit. Not quite fantasy style, but close to it. Oh! Balls. Very nicely played. Very nicely played by Classic. You can see he doesn't have that much meat behind it, but these 2 immortals will be enough. And BYUN picks up, BYUN drops, and BYUN types out. He taps out, he types out. Come on, man. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not expecting him to stay in there that long. Well played by Classic. Ties up the series. All right, guys, so I'm a complete dummy. Part of the harassment on this bottom left that kept coming in was actually a storm drop, which came in here and killed 7 workers. Okay, cool. Small thing I missed, right? Not that big. Except it's not, because let's 8 times speed it. It came back a little bit later, just as new workers transferred, and got another pack of SCVs, bringing it up to 17 kills. So this is actually really impactful. I can't believe I kept missing this prism every time it went in. But you can tell Classic was like making sure he was throwing disruptor shots and really keeping BYUN's vision here. And every time he did that, look, he does it again. That's the exact moment when he would sync it up for this to come in from the edge of the map. And even though he's not watching it at first, when he does, even more storms coming in. And this is the one that paired up with the Zealots to get the 35 worker kills. So actually amazing storm drop harassment from Classic. And even the High Templar with their auto attacks did a lot. They had 28 kills between them before morphing into Archons. So sick. All right, guys, in the bottom left, we've got Classic going into Ancient Cistern. That was a pretty good map, that last one. BYUN in the top right. I really feel if there's one thing that stands out for BYUN that stopped him from being able to get back in that game, it was the handling of the Zealot run-bys was actually very poor. It's kind of funny because I feel like he's so good against Max, who's just constantly hammering Zealots into his mineral lines, and BYUN's so ready for it. And it's almost because Classic didn't do it as often, but it was more threatening with his main army. BYUN seemed more scared of Classic's main army, to the point where he'd ignore 2 or 3 Zealots in a mineral line and let them kill 15 workers multiple times in that game. So I really feel like less seems to be more here for Classic in this scenario. Just send the Zealots in while I'm threatening with my main army. Send the Zealots in while I'm doing something else, while you're elsewhere. And that can be very effective. I do think the big mistake for BYUN in that last game was, of course, doing the Doom drop in the main that got held by the Psystorm. That's what gave Classic so much momentum, allowed him to force the lift on the 3rd a few times. BYUN was kind of lucky to survive that big storm push early on. But definitely still a scary spot. 1-Rex expand for BYUN coming out. I like to see a return to some more normal build orders. That being said, Classic is a very good kind of just greedy macro player. So you've got to be wary with letting him kind of get his uninterrupted macro going. Now that is a reactor right after the Reaper, which when I see that, I always think, is this a 3-Rex? And the reason I think that is because that 50 gas, after spending 50 gas on the Reaper, massively slows down a factory. Now, 3rd command center. He's going 3rd command center, guys. Oh me, oh my. BYUN's doing the greedy boy play. This is so popular lately. Ooh, this is getting really popular, the quick 3rd command center into 3-Rex. We'll see how Classic handles it. Downside of BYUN's build is usually that your tech is so late that there's not that much ability to like drop and run around the map. Reaper's trying to get that Adept baited out so that he can circle into the main and see a scout. Adept pushing him back for now. We'll get a hit off, and there should be another unit out on the high ground, so the Reaper will just have to back off. I'm going to try and break vision with the Adept and then circle back. See, he's out of vision, so he's going to circle around. Classic anticipates, though, is already moving to try to cut off or rotate, but look at that. BYUN sees the shade. He's going to move left. Second barracks is up, third barracks as well. The Marines are pumping out of that first reactor barracks. He skipped the bunker, and remember, this is a map with no ramp on the natural. So you are a little more vulnerable in that scenario. Reaper's going to get chased to the corner, and he quickly diverts to make sure he doesn't get trapped. Engineering Bay comes in behind this as well. Oh, talk about a last-minute block there for BYUN. Going to bring that Marine down. Second and third gateway into Robo, so it's not a very quick Robo. The problem for this build with Classic is his Observer's so late. I wonder if he can read what he's up against without seeing anything. Like, if BYUN can properly disguise what he's doing, this is great. But if it becomes too obvious to where Classic can read it, Classic can play a bit greedier himself and be okay. But if Classic is like, what's going on in here? Is this a normal 3-Rex? Am I going to get Widow Mine dropped? That's where things get very awkward. But look at this. Stalker Adept pressure. He seems to sense that BYUN's being greedy. BYUN gets an Adept there for only a few Marines getting damaged. And remember, guys, it's 4:10. Factory hasn't started yet. I often doesn't start till about 4:40, I believe, with this build, if memory serves. It's getting a bunker up now. Stalkers are there. They're going to pick off one Marine. And you want to focus fire with those Stalkers because then they shoot a little bit quicker. Otherwise, if you A-move them, they take just a fraction of a second longer to acquire the target. So, good micro so far. You can see he's trying to target the weak Marines where possible is Classic. Come on, Classic. You can get him. Gets one more. Makes it 2 more. Maybe being a little cautious after last game where he lost a few Stalkers in the early stage. Factory does start here right on 4 minutes 40. Just before that, actually. Still no third base for Classic. This is not looking good for Classic, man. He's going to go Colossus, which is very important against such a hefty Marine count. You know, the 3-rack style. He will go for a third Nexus. But workers being even is a big income advantage for Terran. You can already see it reflected there. 2,300 minerals a minute for a little bit. Up against 1,700. That's a big mineral advantage. And the Bio Army is growing. The Marauders are coming out. Triple Mule is dropping. The depots are pumping. There will be a starport and a reactor soon as well. And Classic's going to be playing from a little bit behind economically. However, he's got great tech. A few sentries, an Immortal. He's going to go Forge and the Robo Bay. It's not like you're dead in this scenario, but you definitely want to find a little bit more value here while these upgrades are so late from Terran. There we go. Gets 2 Marines. Oh, he does lose. Oh, Classic! What are we doing, mate? Oh, no. Losing 2 Stalkers is not worth killing 3 or 4 Marines. Not at all. That was a bit weird. It's like he just looked away to do some macro, looked back, and wasn't expecting the Bio to be on top of him so quickly. Was expecting him to blink away a little bit quicker. The first Stalker going down, I think Blink was still on cooldown, but the second one definitely should have been available. All right, going up to 5 gateways right now is Classic. BYUN should be swapping around for his first 2 medevacs, and you really feel the lack of medevacs with this style as BYUN. And you especially feel it when you're up against a Colossus style, because you're there, you're like, oh, here's me first 2 medevacs popping at almost 7 minutes. And then your opponent already has a second Colossus out. Like by the time, like soon enough, you're going to see that first Colossus out as your first medevac start. So when do you swap to Vikings? Because if you go heavy medevacs, you're going to be up against 3 Colossus with no Vikings to counter them. On the other hand, if you go straight into Vikings off just 2 medevacs, you stim your whole army, and there's no way those guys are getting healed up, not for a very long time. These are the things you have to factor in as BYUN. Now, he's got +1 armor on the way. He's got a great economy, but we'll see what he does with it. Observer sees everything. BYUN sees the Observer, though. He's very good at spotting those. Second Robo's on the way. Classic loves that second Robo player. Classic's always been a Protoss that I love to emulate in this matchup. I initially learnt PvT from Classic in 2016. Single Oracle into single Void Ray into Colossus off 1 gate. 1 gate, 1 Stargate, 1 Robo. It was the sickest build ever. We definitely didn't play PvT the way we did now. That single Void Ray to stop drops was my favorite though. It's kind of the progenitor of what I would later call Chad's Balls, which is a build where you just build Void Rays and Disruptors. Bit more of a troll build, but Classic, of course, very good at using these power units. It's always been his specialty. Second Forge is on the way in a 4th base. BYUN's looking to get some mobility going, but that means he's leaving a whole bunch of damaged bio in the middle of the map, with only now 3rd and 4th medevac arriving. Still just pumping out of 5 racks. Interestingly, he's building siege tanks. I did not expect this. I thought BYUN would play more of just a biomine multi-prong style. The problem with tanks is if you ever lose them all, then they take a long time to rebuild. Stalkers in the bottom do get caught by that bio. He's thinking about dropping up into that main. The army for Classic dives on this, then definitely could cause some issues. Oh! BYUN only gets a Marauder and 2 Marines out of the first medevac before it goes down. Second medevac falls as well. The Colossus walk up the cliff and say, hello, Marauders and Marines, you guys are silly. Stalkers and Colossus dealing with all of that really nicely. Good hold so far by Classic. BYUN's trying to force it in right now. But look at that, great force field splitting the army. And it feels like Classic is using his tech amazingly well to take fantastic trades. He stops BYUN in his tracks. And what's BYUN's progression? He doesn't have any progression. He's built 2 Vikings now. Oh, he's very ready for that. Classic needs to get out of there. Does save only 2 out of those 6 or 7 Zealots. Prism. Oh my god, he's going to lose the Prism as well. You're kidding me. Ooh, it gets out. BYUN's going to send the Vikings to go hunt for it, though. That's a good choice. Just a few more shots, that Prism goes down. Classic, though, is on 4 bases. 74 workers. 2-1 upgrades on the way. The Ghost Academy's just finishing. And you can see here, even though BYUN has a lot of raw numbers, I think the best way to utilize this sort of army is to play Widow Mines and do more Doom dropping and multi-prong YOLOing. I think if he threatened the top left and the bottom right at the same time, it would be very hard for Classic to cover all that space. But now that Classic's won a few fights, he might have a bit of confidence. Oh god, he's caught out! Disruptors from the left though. Are they going to save his bacon? Double ball goes flying and takes out a lot of the Marauders. But a lot of Marauders coming in from the right as well. The numbers are quite overbearing. The Immortal does take out a lot of units, but it does eventually go down. Battery overcharge to save this Colossus might save his bacon, but oh my god! The Colossus barely alive! Oh, it does still go down, but it gets 1 or 2 more shots off in time. More Zealots coming in. Those tanks sieged up in a nice position. One of them doesn't have room to siege, though. The other tanks are blocking it. Stalkers on the high ground and the Zealots getting on top are going to deal with that. And that is a very impressive hold there by Classic. BYUN trying to overwhelm with sheer numbers, but he's doing it front on, and Classic's tech usage is amazing. 2 Zealots get warped in the main. Vikings do quickly respond and deal with the Warp Prism, but BYUN, remember, he had issues with this last game. 2 Zealots in a mineral line seems to be his Achilles heel. He's going to try and maybe land the Vikings to deal with it, finally, but man, that's so unnecessary. To see this when it first came in, shoot down the Prism, and then just not react and lose 10 SCVs, unnecessary damage. BYUN's now trying to build up to 8 barracks and a 4th command center, but remember, he never got the 2nd engineering bay and the armory, so he's missing the upgrade progression. Meanwhile, Protoss is upgrading 3-2. That's putting a hard timer on BYUN. Even if BYUN gets a 4th base, Protoss already has a 5th. Protoss is going to outscale the upgrades, and Protoss has the 3rd Robo. Does get rid of 1 SCV there, but once again, 2 Zealots, 200 minerals, almost losing a 3rd. For a single 50 mineral SCV, that's not the greatest trade there. I feel like BYUN's so good at stopping Zealot run-bys on the front, but somehow it's just those random 2 Zealots that he sometimes just ignores or underestimates. New Nexus in the bottom right side. Stalker Disruptor there. Big Zealot pack in the top left. Vikings are hunting right now. You do not want to lose Vikings to Zealots, that's for sure. They're both just out of vision of each other. Oh, Vikings get jumped on, but at least they spot what's coming a mile away. There is no Colossus out right now, so this is kind of the Clem usage of the Vikings in order to land them in the mineral line and defend this. Should be repairing that depot. Gonna try and stim his bio up here. And looks like 1 Zealot goes down. Depot will burn down, but not the end of the world for BYUN. Gotta watch out for the balls, watch out for the balls. BYUN does dive forward, but he's gonna have to run it away. Does get clipped, losing a single Marauder there. On the top, Classic goes back in, but once again, holding the choke point. A lot of Vikings did go down, though. You could see a bunch of Vikings break. It might be viable for Classic to swap back into Colossus as time goes on. Mass Zealot Stalk, 8 Disruptors, 82 workers for him. 4th Command Center is an orbital. BYUN is playing his greedy boy style. He loves to try and get orbitals on his 4th base when he can get away with it, but it means he doesn't have that defensive anchor of the planetary. He needs to keep his army split. And the problem for him is these Zealots are going to hit the north and distract him. He's trying to flank around from the side. Okay, Disruptor Shot's going to land big time on that flank on the left. He gets another 2 Marauders there, engages the bottom side, and drops balls on the north. That was a perfect engagement for Classic. On the top, the Zealots are still causing a ruckus as well, tearing up the mineral line. Disruptor Shots do what they can. The Zealots do end up cleaning up a few units, but they all get cleaned. BYUN, though, has lost already a lot here. So let's bring that mini-map back up. That was a very good attempt to surround, but it felt like it was just very well handled, where Classic pulled most of his Zealot Stalker to clean up the bottom. Disruptor dropped there and there, and then Disruptor zoned the top as well. So Disruptor's kind of held 2 sides at bay while the Stalker Zealot cleaned up the other side. Disruptor Shot does take out a few Zealots and it goes there. Big warp in on the front line, but no, it does get stopped by the Vikings. Doesn't matter though. So much units for Protoss, and even losing his production on this third base. As the Disruptors come off cooldown, they're forcing units to pick up into the medevacs. The Stalkers shoot down the full medevac, and Classic brings it back after a bit of a throwy throw in game 1. Says, I am incredibly impressive in PvT right now, and I love seeing a style that's so different to the other Protoss players. I always felt since Classic came back, he was figuring out his own way of playing the matchup rather than just copying everything else, copying everyone else, and it's really paying off. GG, well played.